Good afternoon, and well, I am the fearless warrior, and I am joined by two gentlemen of well, I'll let them introduce themselves basically. So, and we'll be going into some depth into history, into some spiritual history as well as some controversial little history and things to make it think. So, without further ado, let them introduce themselves. And on the right, I will have Mr.
Brother Yusuf, um, from the Israelite House of Yahweh in Messiah Yahusha. On the right of me is Brother Malachiah. And we come out, we do this interview to let our people know who they are, because our people are in ignorance to the fact of what happened to them in the past, coming out of slavery. Um, the Bible shows that we are the true Israelites, and we have facts from the scriptures itself to prove that we are the people of the Most High. What we have to know is that the reason why the condition of our blacks and Negro people, even the native Indian people, also are Hebrew Israelites, what they need to know, not all native Indians, but some of them, what they need to know that the Most High give us our surmise long before any time when Moses was walking the earth. He prophesied that if we break the Most High commandments, we will be under the curses of Deuteronomy 28. And hence the reason why all these curses are playing off today concerning what happened to our people. Um, one of the main curse that is upon our people, we do not know the name of the Creator. And the name of the Creator is the number one understanding to understanding the whole Bible. It come like if you have a body, right, and you cut off the head, the body will not function. So the name represents the head of understanding all the commandments of the Most High, because remember He's the author and finisher of everything. The Most High is the author, and if He's the author, then you have to, when you're writing a book, you must put the name of the author. But if you put somebody else's name, then everything that the person who write the book, somebody else getting credit for it. So hence the reason why the name of the Most High is so important to understanding the whole Bible. Therefore, everything else functions under the name. And also the keeping of the Sabbath day is the next thing that the Bible tells you in Exodus 20, verse 8. We must remember the Sabbath day. And the reason why he most I put remember at the beginning of that commandment is that he know that the children of Israel will forget his name. And hence the reason why this is what happened today. He say that the Bible say that we in Proverbs 31, read Proverbs 31 for me. Proverbs 31 says what will happen to us and who we will be following. We will not be following the Most High. So let Proverbs chapter 3 verse 31. Chapter 3 verse 31, sorry. Proverbs chapter 3 verse 31. So
Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 31.
go ahead.
Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways.
So what happened to us coming out of slavery was envying our oppressor, and we was choosing the ways of our oppressor. Hence the reason why we were taught Christianity under our oppressor. And what happened to us? We lost our understanding of who we are due to the taking the child from the parent and sending them on a next plantation, and hence the reason why that child being indoctrinated with the white man philosophy of our book, because the Bible is only for the Israelites. So they took our book and manipulated us with our own book, and he put himself as the people of the Most High and put us as the servants or as the Gentiles. So hence the reason why this is what played out for us. So the Bible tells us these things will happen to us. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 17, verse 4. No, Jeremiah 17, verse 4. So these things will show us why we went into why we was under the condition that we were in.
Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee.
So the Most High say we will discontinue from the heritage that he gave us, from knowing that we are the Israelites. We no longer know we are Israelites. We call ourselves Trinidadians, Jamaican, Haitian, Barbadian, Vincentian, St. Lucian, Afro-American, Brazilian, All these terms were given to us by our slave master, but we do not know that we are the Israelites, so we will discontinue from our heritage, not knowing our Hebrew language, because we taught the language of the Europeans, right? Either French or Spanish or English or Portuguese, whatever the language these Europeans bring over. That is what was taught to us. So most people in the Caribbean here, because right now we're in Trinidad and Tobago, most people in Caribbean here talk different languages, but the languages was handed over to them by the Europeans that came across here and enslaved us. So this is what happened to us. So we will discontinue from our heritage that the Most High gave us. Read on.
And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies.
And the Most High say he will cause us to serve our oppressors or our enemies. So the Most High calling the people, the so-called white people, the so-called European nation, the Caucasian nations, which is also known biblically as the Edomites, he called them our enemies. So how could the Most High love everybody if he tell us that these people are our enemies? So it's very clear to understand that this Bible is not for everybody. And these things is what we must know. If we do not know the simplicity of the Bible, we will get carried away, because what was taught to us was based upon putting the so-called white man on top and us underneath, at below, at the bottom of the ladder in society. And the Bible said this will happen to us. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. Yeah, what the Bible say will happen to us. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15.
Word.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahweh thy supreme mighty one, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Right, so he said, curses shall come upon us and overtake us. Now jump to verse 43. Now from verse 15 to verse 68 is all the curses pertaining what will happen to our people. And imagine this was prophesied since in the time of Moses. And Moses prophesied these times that we are living in right now. So read verse 43.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 43. The stranger that is within thee.
So the strangers that comes among us, God,
shall get up above thee very high.
So you've seen many people met us here. The Indians come from as indented laborers. Then the Arabs came. Now we have Chinese and Syrians in Trinidad and Tobago here. And the Bible says they will come in among us and what?
The stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee very high.
Well,
and thou shalt come down very low.
So the Bible says we will come down very low. So that's it. This is what happened to us. The native Indians, well, you know, Trinidad and Tobago, Caribbean, Arawaks, and the Negroes that came from the west coast of Africa across here. They are below every other people that came afterwards. So read the next verse.
Verse 44. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him.
Good.
He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail.
So the Most High prophesied that them will be the head, and we will be the tail. So we will be the bottom of the ladder in society. You understand? But continue reading.
Verse 45. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed.
Now, the destroy, they're not only talking about destroy physically, but destroy mentally. So even though we were destroyed in slavery through lynching, through burning, through hanging, and all these other things that they did us in slavery, we were destroyed mentally because they give us their understanding of the Bible. When we no longer had our own understanding, that was taken away from us due to separating the child from the mother, from the parents, and this is what went on with us. So therefore, hence the reason why what was taught to us was destroying us, because they're telling us to keep the first day of the week. When the Bible tells us to keep the Sabbath, they say to remember the Sabbath. They're telling us to pray on the pork and eat it. When the Bible says don't eat no unclean meat. And all these other things, they give us Christmas, Easter, and all these type of things. And this is what they're destroying us today. And the reason why our people are in condition and they cannot come out. Every time the black man condition is getting worse and worse in Trinidad and Tobago and all over the world where we are scattered. So hence the reason why we as the Israelites who are scattered all over the world, this is the condition of our people. And the Bible says that.
But let me ask you this question
Yeah.
because plenty people will ask the question, but the lynching and all these things would have happened during slavery. How does that equate to the curses from the Bible? Because what would have been the curse that black people would have had to go through, that they must go through lynching and murdering during that time period of being under a slave master?
Mm-hmm. All right, give me Isaiah 5 verse 13. Yeah, very nice question. So everything is explained in the Bible.
Isaiah chapter 5, verse 13.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, my people are going into captivity because they have no knowledge, and their honorable men are famished.
So what you say when we have no knowledge, that means we went against the laws, and we went because we break the laws, we went into captivity. And when you say our honorable men are famished, even though we have men like Prime Minister Eric Williams, Prime Minister Patrick Manning, Prime Minister Keith Rowley, these people are famished because they do not understand the things that going on with our people because they never been taught this. What they've been taught is what they was raised up in. And some of these men are part of our society, and the society is not biblically having knowledge of our people, so therefore um, they will not understand what the things that are going on with people, and they have to follow a system that is given to them outside in Europe and the United Nations. So hence the reason why they cannot fix our problem in that way. So hence the reason why they have to come back to the Bible to fix our problem. And if they do not know this knowledge, they can't fix the problem of the blacks and Negroes and the Native Indians in Trinidad and Tobago and all over the Caribbean here and the West Indies, right? So read on.
And their honorable men are famished.
That means they cannot help the people because they was not taught the Bible in the right way. Go ahead.
And their multitude dried up with thirst.
So our people are thirsty right now because we don't have the truth. The Bible says the truth will set us free. The Bible says the truth is also the word is also water. So if you're not learning the truth, how you could teach the people to bring our people out of condition? You remember we as a prime minister, you have to see for all people, but yet people who the most high people in your land is suffering more than the people who are above us because of the situation with the banks and so on. It seems like our people, when we go in a bank, we can't get a loan. And hence the reason why all these things happen to our people, because our people are also wicked too. I cannot say that our people are innocent. Our people are breaking the commandments, and the reason why all these things are happening us, we breaking the commandments. So we have to stop breaking the Most High commandments and do what the Most High say, and then the Most High say He gonna help us. Let me prove that to you. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 28, read from verse 1.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently.
The word hearken means to listen and do. Right, go ahead.
Unto the voice of Yahweh thy supreme mighty one, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day.
No, all the commandments don't mean some of the commandments, because we know it are the 10 commandments, but the commandments, biblically, the commandment is 613 commandments. So he says we must do all the commandments, right? We are not talking about the sacrificial law, because we're not another, because Messiah do away with that. He don't kill bull, goat, calves, and sheep anymore. That was under the Levitical priesthood. But that was the only law that was done with according to what Messiah said and according to what the Most High say. So this is proven that the understanding that the churches today, they're lying to the people and telling people that all the laws are done away with, when the Bible tells you is the sacrificial law that's done away with. And also to add on to the sacrificial law, the death penalty that is applied under Moses, that is also on hold. Only certain people, only certain things that can get death penalty because we're under mercy, what you call grace today. So hence the reason why still if a man commit murder and you have the evidence, he could get hanged, right? He ain't got no grace because you have the evidence. But still, if you not fully have the evidence of something, you get a grace period for the time allotted. So hence the reason why we still under that grace period. So and that grace period is only for up to a time until the Messiah comes the second time again. So after that time reach, then it's judgment. So understand that grace does not give you a permission to break the commandments. It just tells you that it gives you put in a position to get yourself right. Right? Where you used to get killed for this long time, now you give extended and telling you get yourself right before you leave this earth or before you die. That is what grace is what he's talking about. So hence the reason why this is what the Bible is telling us to do. So because for example, if I Bible say Patrick commandment tell you thou shalt not worship idols, right? And you know that is wrong. So because you're under grace, will you go and worship idols? That's part of the commandments. You know that is wrong, so you wouldn't do that. So it don't give you a permission to go and sin. Grace don't give you a permission to break the commandments. That's what plenty people don't know. So you still have to keep the commandments. And the only commandments most Christians say they'll skip, which I know they're so familiar with the scripture, is the Sabbath day. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah,
that seems to be a commandment.
Yeah. So read on, continue reading. So the Bible says you must hearken to the commandments, right? Go ahead.
And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahweh thy supreme mighty one, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the supreme mighty one Yahweh will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
So you realize that we don't use the term Lord and God, because when you trace it back those two terms, there was induced in the Bible by taking out the creator name, which is Yahweh, and the name of the son is Yahushua. Right? What they did, the Bible gives you history. If you have an old Bible and in the preface it tells you they had taken out the creator name, which was written 7,000 times in the original scriptures, and they put in Lord and God. So those things were that were a conspiracy to remove the name from the Bible under the so-called oppressor, because that is what went on. So by removing the name and put titles, because Lord and God is not named them as titles, they remove the truth from the Bible of understanding who is the author of the book. And that is why our people today not understanding this whole Bible. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why we put back the name.
But in the part in which you've just read, under the chapter, you talked about Jacob.
Yeah.
Who's Jacob?
Jacob is Jacob. That's the Hebrew name for Jacob.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the Hebrew name for Jacob. Jacob. Now, what plenty, remember, as I mentioned, that what plenty people don't know. The word Jacob do not mean deceiver or supplanter, because most Christians just teach that. The word Jacob, the word Ya means hand, and Jacob means heel. It means hand and heel, because when Jacob was coming out of the womb of Rebekah, remember Esau came out first. He held on to Esau's heel coming out of the womb, because Esau and Jacob were twins, but they were not identical twins. They were what they call fraternal twins. In other words, one came out an albino, while Jacob come out black. So who come out the albino? Esau, which is the father of the so-called white nations today. You understand what I'm saying? That's why the Most High told Rebecca before she gave birth, that why these two children are fighting in the womb is because they are two nations. And as long as these two nations are living upon the earth, they will not agree with one another. And the Bible also says that the elder shall serve the younger. So who's the elder? The elder is the so-called white man today, and the what they call the Caucasian nations, which is Esau. And the younger is Jacob, what they call in blacks and Negroes, right, today. And the Bible says the so-called white man eventually will serve the black man when Messiah set up the kingdom. So hence the reason why all these things are playing off today, because this is Esau world right now. We living in Esau world. That's why we are the bottom of the ladder. But when Messiah comes, he will set us back on a pedestal as we were in the time of King David and King Solomon, back where we was above all nations of the earth.
But wasn't the two of them in the womb at the same time?
Yes.
So how one become the older than the next one?
Right, because whoever comes out first is the firstborn. right? So that even though they are twins, they can't come out at the same time. One had to come out first, and then the other one will come out after. So all
But
these
that would
is,
just mean that one is just
yeah,
a minute apart or 2 minutes apart.
yeah. Well, it will be like that, but still, it's still the firstborn. You don't have a secondborn. When you're given a firstborn offering, you give it to one, you don't give it to two. So even though you have twins, whoever come out first, firstborn offerings goes to the firstborn. Now you know the rights of the firstborn? Do you know the rights according to the Bible of the firstborn?
No.
The firstborn, when the father dies, he becomes the ruler of the home, even over his mother. He becomes the ruler over the home. Also, he becomes the priest in the family. And also, he gets a double portion of what the others cannot get. In other words, everybody else will get one portion, he will get two portions. So there's three things that is given to the firstborn. When you check the children of Jacob, you'll realize that that firstborn of honorance was split up between three tribes of the children of Jacob, who name became Israel. The rulership went to Judah, the priesthood went to Levi, and the honorings, that means when you say the honorings or the possessions went to Joseph. That means the wealth and the gold and all that went to Joseph. So hence the reason why those three possession of the firstborn went to three tribes of Israel. And that's why Judah is always here. That's why Messiah have to come out of the tribe of Judah, right? And this is what plenty of people don't know. You understand what I'm saying? Right?
But people will ask then, because if you remove the name of God and you put Lord and God, because that was teaching you to say in school and all different things. Then what is the real name of God?
His name is Yahweh. It means the only self-existent power. He is and will be. Right? Name of the Messiah is Yahushua. It means the only self-existent power is salvation. Those are the Hebrew names, and nowhere in the Bible tell you the name of the Most High must be translated. Nowhere in the Bible say it have to be, because Moses, when he was give the command to bring forth the children of Israel out of Egypt, he asked an important question. Who shall I say that sent me? Because he have to, when he going before Pharaoh, he have to give Pharaoh a name to say who will bring all the children of Israel out of Egypt. The name was so important, you won't believe, because the name shows that it was after destroying Egypt, it showed that the whole world will know